has always been an easy choice for a lot of people, mainly because it's a known commodity. And in 2026, the Pilot has a ton of really good competition. But one major thing keeps people coming back to this car. Let's talk about it. I know tons of people who buy Honda Pilots. They're big, they're comfortable, they've got 3 rows for the whole family, and they've got a reputation for reliability. The Pilot is an obvious choice for a lot of buyers, but there's a big catch with this 2026 model. Its competition has gotten really, really good. This is the 2026 Honda Pilot Elite, and I'm Alanis King. Let's go for a drive and stick around for the end of this video to get this Pilot's full report card. This 2026 Pilot has 3 rows, all-wheel drive, and a very, very famous 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine that makes 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. This particular engine is from Honda's J35 family, and this is the J35 Y8. The J35 has been all over the Honda lineup for many, many years, and currently you can find it in all kinds of vehicles, like this Pilot, the Passport SUV, and the Odyssey minivan. The J35 is very popular because Honda's made so many of them, and they're known to be very reliable and just good and simple at what they do. And this 285 horsepower goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission to all 4 wheels because, again, this is all-wheel drive. The transmission on this car is from America. The engine is from America. And the final assembly point is in Lincoln, Alabama, which is also America. The Pilot is a big deal in the Honda lineup, especially in 2026 when Americans really want big, boxy 3-row SUVs, which is what this is. But the original Pilot came in 2003, and at the time it was meant to be a competitor against vehicles like the Ford Explorer. But it had a really big difference at the time. The Ford Explorer and other competitors like it had body-on-frame architecture. That's more truck-like, where the body and the frame are on top of each other instead of together. This is a unibody construction. It's more car-like where the body and frame are together. So it's supposed to handle better and be safer and more efficient and everything like that. But the thing about this Pilot in 2026 is when you drive it around town, it handles so sluggishly that it feels like a truck anyway. But the thing about this Pilot handling like a truck is that most people won't notice it, nor will they care, nor will it stop them from buying it. In 2025, 124,000 new Pilots were sold by American Honda, which was down by about 17,000 units from the year before. But still, more than 100,000 people buy this vehicle new every year from American Honda, making it one of the company's most popular vehicles. This 2026 Honda Pilot is from one of the top trims, the Elite, and it starts at $53,495 US. And this one right here has no options on it, so after fees, the total price is $54,990 US. That leads us to our brand new segment, Alanis' Tour to Interesting Features. And like many very popular commuter cars, we are bordering on interesting here. Around the front, you'll notice my face is about the size of my hand. This Honda logo is conveniently also about the size of my hand, which means it's about the size of my face. So in case you forgot that the Pilot is made by Honda, here's your reminder. And then we step right here, and you'll notice this is a mostly fake vent area, but on the side, about 10% of this thing is real, so it's 10% cool. Around the side of this Pilot, there are 2 things I want to mention. 1, we have real door handles because door handles work and they don't need to be changed and they don't need to be flat. We can just do this. And 2, a very fun game I like to play is when I'm in a parking lot. I play, was this vehicle assembled in America? Especially with Japanese automakers like Honda or Toyota, if a vehicle was assembled in America, the paint application has a wavier texture to it. It has orange peel on it instead of the very desirable flat texture. So you can see when you look at this Pilot, there's a ton of orange peel on it, which means it was what? Assembled in America. The one real big exception to this is if a vehicle is assembled in Bowling Green, Kentucky, Corvettes, because Corvettes have great paint. In the back of this Honda Pilot, we have a very convenient little cubby over here where you can put your gallon jugs of milk. I went to the grocery store the other day and I put milk right here. The problem was I left the third row down and all of my groceries turned into bowling balls and bowling pins. So put the third row up if you're going grocery shopping. And then when we lift our milk jug holder out, what do we have in here? We have a jack and we have a funnel so that we can use our not full-size spare tire, and if you need some gas, you can funnel it in. On the inside of this Pilot, we have a few handy things to discuss. The first is that on my right stalk right here, I have a button at the end for my 360 camera, and I have not seen this before. It is a very handy spot to put this, especially when you're just driving around a parking lot or you're trying to park and you need easy access. I love that that is right here. In our center console area, half of this is piano black, which I can't stand piano black because it gets very dirty and dusty and scratchy. The other half is not piano black, which is good, but it's a bit odd because it's a wood style trim, but it's plastic, and then it has this silver geometric pattern on top, and I think they just should have left the geometric pattern off of it because I think it will age it more quickly, and I just think it's kind of unnecessary. Simple is usually better and means things will age better. And then our final two stops, we have two cubbies. One, this cubby right here is super usable. You can put your wallet, you can put keys, you can put anything right here, especially if you're the passenger. The second is something I see on a lot of vehicles, which is this little half-size cubby right here. And if I take my phone out, you'll see that this half-size cubby doesn't really fit my phone. It doesn't really fit anything. Is this meant for keys? What's supposed to go right there? Because I've never understood. Before we drive this 2026 Honda Pilot, it's time to find out how many Atlantises can fit in a Honda Pilot's trunk. Now, while I get in a trunk, I like to talk about a vehicle's key. And this is just a normal Honda key. The thing that's unfortunate about this key is that the outer rim of it is that old style black plastic that just makes it look dated. And the inner bit of it is that very shiny black plastic that gets really scratched really easily. It's like a clear plastic on top of a black bit with the Honda logo, and this would look nice if it weren't all scratched up, but as you can see, it is all scratched up. Another really cool thing about the back of this trunk area is that when we lift up this floor, there is storage for the center seat in the second row. So a lot of times when you buy a 3-row SUV, you choose between a second row bench seat or second row captain's chairs. You can take out that center seat right there, store it right here, and you basically have captain's chairs. That's pretty cool. Or you could just sit in the back, like me. Ooh, the third row is up right now, and I am going to see how well I fit back here. This is 1.5 Atlantises with a third row up, but don't try to hide me back here because your 7 passengers will notice. It's time to drive the 2026 Honda Pilot Elite. And while we drive this vehicle, we are going to talk about a few very important categories: the styling, the comfort, the controls, the driving experience, and overall, why I think people buy this vehicle, and the secret weapon that Honda uses to get people in this vehicle. We're going to start with the styling. The styling on this vehicle is like many other normal modern Hondas. It is palatable, it is inoffensive, and ultimately that makes it kind of uninteresting. And that's fine. A lot of people are going to buy this vehicle. They don't want it to look super interesting. They don't want it to be something that maybe is super cool in 2026 and ages really poorly. So I understand why it's like this, but it does make it not super fun to look at when you look at the inside or the outside. Now we move from the outside to the inside of this car, and not only is it uninteresting in here, but I also think we lack cohesiveness inside this vehicle. Modern Hondas pretty much all have the same interior setup. We have this screen right here, we have physical climate controls, and we have our volume knob right here. It's all very similar. And when I'm in a $30,000 Honda Civic, this is a fantastic setup. I love it. It's great. When I'm in a $55,000 3-row SUV, I wish I had a little more. I wish I had some cooler styling. I wish I just had some specialness to it, something that makes me feel like I spent $55,000 and not like, oh, I can get out of a Civic and get in this and everything looks exactly the same. But I will not discount that for a lot of people, especially if you're a Honda family, you like the fact that it's kind of reminiscent of your other cars, right? It's familiar. You don't have to look around for stuff. I just wish there was some visual appeal in here. And I think in trying to create some visual appeal, Honda did this weird quilted pattern on the tops of the seats. But when I look at this weird quilted pattern and I feel it, it reminds me of those dog mats that people put inside vehicles so that their dogs can't scratch their vehicles. It's not the best choice in material, and on the lacking cohesiveness, when I look around this car, everything is black, and then I look at this headliner and it's light gray. It just feels like things weren't styled together. It feels like things weren't styled to look really pretty and fancy and nice, and they should in a car of this price. Now let's talk about controls inside this 2026 Honda Pilot. And like I said earlier, the controls in this Pilot are very reminiscent of any other modern Honda. We have this central screen, which is actually a lot smaller than you see in a lot of other modern vehicles. A lot of modern vehicles are just screens everywhere and they're all huge. And in modern Hondas, you actually have decently sized screens. So if you're anti-screen, this is great for you. In addition to that, we have physical climate controls, which are fantastic. I love being able to just feel around and twist a dial or press a button and know what I'm pressing and not have to look at a screen. It keeps me from being distracted when I'm driving, and it's just overall easier. So yes, I like this setup. I like the modern Honda setup. I just think it could have been presented in a prettier fashion inside this Pilot to make you feel like you spent more money on it. In addition to sharing a screen and physical climate controls with other modern Hondas, something I think is so funny is that they share start-stop buttons in general. So when you get in this Pilot, you have the same start-stop button as you would have in a Honda Civic Type R hot hatch. And then you get in a Honda Odyssey, and that also has the same start-stop button. I really like the red start-stop button in a Civic Type R hot hatch, because it's like, yeah, we're gonna start this vehicle up. And then you see it in every other Honda, and you go, okay, well, that's not as exciting as I felt it was before. But when you're looking around at the controls in this vehicle, you have everything you could want. I have ventilated seats, I have heated seats, I have USB-C charging ports. And something I will say about modern ventilated seats is that they're always really loud. The only vehicle I've been in that has a decent sounding ventilated seat where it's actually kind of quiet is the IS350 F Sport. Pretty quiet, it's good. In here, you turn on these ventilated seats and it's like, it's so loud. It's louder than the fans. In the second row of this Honda Pilot, you do not get ventilated seats, but you do get heated seats and you get single zone climate control. So between whoever is in that second row, you get to choose what your temperature is and you get to choose your fan speed and you get your own climate control right there. And something that I think is really important about second row climate control is that this climate control right here is down low, which means if you have children or smaller adults back there, they don't have to reach up to the ceiling, which they do in some larger SUVs, to adjust their climate controls, which means they can do it, they can control their own thing, which is not the case in every modern three row. And the other thing I want to mention about the second row is that aside from all of our controls and aside from decent leg room, there's also a US pronged outlet back there that you can charge on. But it's not a 3-prong, it's a 2-prong, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because if I'm going to have a normal charger, I'm going to have a 3-prong laptop charger, like my MacBook charger. So to have 2 prongs doesn't help me because I'll just use USB-C if that's the case. The third row in this Honda Pilot also has surprisingly decent legroom and headroom. I'm 5'8.5" and I fit back there just fine. I would be okay back there for quite a while, which is surprising. And then you have a USB-C charging port. So if I am distracted by how tight it is back there, which I really wouldn't be, I can just charge my phone and play games on it. Now I want to talk about the actual driving experience in this Honda Pilot. And it's honestly not the best. It's not my favorite. This Pilot has a really soft suspension. So when you pull up to a stop sign, there's a lot of swaying. Or when you're taking a corner, you're swaying around. So watch, if I just stop right here. Oh, I mean, look at how soft that suspension is. So when you're driving around town, there's a lot of swaying back and forth because of how soft it is. And in addition to that, although this V6 is very, very trusted and very reliable, it's just not very fast by modern standards. We don't have a hybrid system and low-end torque to make this thing feel faster, so it's just super sluggish, kind of like a truck. But the reality is that a lot of those things don't matter for people shopping for a Pilot. They don't care that it feels a little sluggish around town. They don't care that there's some swaying here and there. They're just going to think that's a normal part of being in an SUV. And the things that they do care about, like the comfort, the seating, everything like that, they're going to be good. And then in addition to that, this is decent to drive on the highway. It's quiet. Honda has great driver assistance features like adaptive cruise control and lane centering assist. For the things people are going to buy this Pilot for, it is going to do those things well, and they're not going to mind that the actual driving dynamics are a little bit loosey-goosey. And that brings me to what I believe is the very, very important secret weapon of this Honda Pilot. And it's something that I've thought about a lot. When I'm writing these scripts and I'm writing about these cars, I like to really put myself in the position of a buyer. I like to think about what is motivating people to buy these cars. And I thought about a recent conversation I had, which mirrors a lot of conversations I have, because people go, Alanis, what car should I buy? And often when people are asking me that and they're not car enthusiasts, they already know what they want to buy. They just want me to go, yep, that's a great choice. Go ahead, get it. They want a seal of approval instead of actual advice. So one time I had someone come up to me and say, hey, I'm looking at a Honda Pilot. What do you think about the Honda Pilot's competition? And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not driven a Honda Pilot. This right now is my first time driving a Honda Pilot. I'm sure it's fine. A vehicle I really like in that segment is the Hyundai Palisade. I also really love the Kia Telluride. I think they have great styling, tech, features, everything like that, and they're super comfortable. And the person goes, okay, but I want a Honda Pilot. I was like, well, then why did you ask me? Just go get a Honda Pilot, right? And that's the case with so many people. And I thought, why is that? Why is it that people want a Honda Pilot so badly? And I thought back to many, many years ago. I was at a Honda event, and American automakers, they were getting rid of their small cars in America. This was like the late 2010s, I think. And some of the automotive journalists there said, Honda, are you going to do that? And Honda said, no, because our small cars are the entry point for our brand. And at least in America, culturally, when someone buys a new car or they buy any kind of car and it's a certain brand, if they have a good experience with that vehicle, they are very likely to stay within that brand, especially if they're buying, not leasing. It's just a very cultural thing in America. So if you buy a Honda and you have good experiences with Honda, you're probably going to buy another Honda. If you buy a Kia and you have good experiences with a Kia, you're probably going to buy another Kia. So those $24,000 Honda Civics, maybe someone buys that when they're 25 years old. And then when they're 30 or 35, they go, I need a vehicle that's twice that size, twice that price, whatever. I need something fancier. If they had a good experience with that Civic, they're already in the Honda brand, and they're probably going to stay in the Honda brand family. And I thought about it, and I thought, the J35 engine in this vehicle has been around for a long time in a bunch of different variants, and it generally has a great reputation, and Honda generally has a great reputation for reliability. So it doesn't really matter if I think driving this Pilot right now for the first time that it's a little bit behind on the styling and finesse when we compare it to something like a Hyundai Palisade. It doesn't matter, because the people who trust Honda and the people who trust this J35 engine, they're going to care more about that than the styling or the finesse of the vehicle. They're going to want to buy something they trust, because when we think about it, Americans in general, they're kind of scared of cars. Whether that car is new or old, they're worried that something is going to happen. And if a car doesn't strand you, you are more likely to buy from that automaker again. And do you know what doesn't strand you? The J35, baby. Now that we've driven the 2026 Honda Pilot Elite, it's time to give it a grade. Welcome to Alanis' report card. The exterior on this SUV is a B. It's not offensive, it's just not interesting at all. The interior is a B+, because inside this Pilot you have all the features you could want. We have physical climate controls, ventilated seats, 360 cameras, tech, comfort, everything like that. But it is just so not interesting looking in there. The style is not the best, which is why it's a B+. The performance is unfortunately a C-. Around town, it is just not super fun to drive. It feels like a truck. The suspension is so soft that you're going like this everywhere. It's not super fast. It's just not great from a performance perspective. The comfort though is an A, especially if you're on the highway. If you close your eyes and you ignore the fact that the styling's not the best, it feels really nice in there. The value is a B, and I say this because, again, you have all of the features you could want. This is a decent vehicle for a decent price, but when it comes to style and presentation, the Hyundai Palisade is just so good and so new, and I think this Pilot needs an update to be able to fully compete with it. Would I take this Pilot on a road trip? Yeah, I would. It would be totally fine. And overall, this Pilot gets a B-. With some really tasteful modern upgrades, I think this could compete better with the Palisade, but for now, it's going to fall back on that one big secret weapon, the J35 Y8. There are a lot of things to like about the Honda Pilot, and perhaps more importantly, there are a lot of things to trust about the Honda Pilot. That's what keeps people coming back to this car, even if the outer shell is a little less shiny than some of its competition. The 2026 Honda Pilot's competition is really, really tough, and even if I think some parts of this vehicle could be updated styling-wise, it doesn't really matter that much, because the people who are looking at this vehicle know that they can trust it, and that matters to them a lot.